Hey, everybody. Welcome to Versus Episode 19. My name's Maher, and that is Will Cohen. If you've been watching, you know that we've been on a seemingly never-ending journey within a journey of trying to watch all of Louisa Warren's movies. And I think this week we've found the turning point because in 2018, she made Bride of Scarecrow, which we covered last week, which wasn't horrible. But she decided that year that why not make another Scarecrow movie? And before I play this trailer, Will, what are your initial thoughts?
Apparently, this is also the point where Louisa Warren found out what Control A and Control C does, as well as Control V, because this is literally a fucking copy paste, plot wise, of the same goddamn movie as Bride of Scarecrow.
And then they copy pasted again for Tooth Fairy. But let's take a look at this trailer.
You were 6 years old, you watched your parents being brutally slain in your own home. It's time for you to move forward. I think maybe you should go back there.
It's said that a scarecrow returns each 20 years.
It's not uncommon for people that experience traumatic things to create a fantasy to be able to cope with it.
You think I'm crazy?
Come on!
Yes, but that could just be a coincidence.
A coincidence that every 20 years someone on this land dies or gets murdered.
I know what we'll do. We'll unmask the killer. Let's see what is behind the mask. 1, 2, 3.
You saw it. Can you please tell me that you saw it?
We can't stop them until the sun rises.
The souls of the victims are trapped. They are cursed to suffer the same fate as the scarecrows.
Well, but I know you took notes, and we do appreciate you taking notes every week, Will. But I want to comment that the one thing at the top that I need to mention, Louisa Warren is acting in this movie, which is fine. She's not the worst actress I've ever seen. She's not good either, but she's not the worst actress I've ever seen. But she made a choice in this movie to wear a shirt that says no regrets on it. And I feel that that was a message she's sending to anyone that watches her movies. She does not give a shit what you think about her or her movies.
If that was true, then she would have found the same font from We're the Millers and would have said no regrets.
maybe. But yeah, the fact that I feel that shirt was a choice. There's tons of shirts she could have worn. She wore that shirt. But anyway, Curse of the Scarecrow, as Will has already pointed out, they don't change any of the logistics. They don't change any of the spoken logistics. They don't care about those spoken logistics because it doesn't make any sense again. Like, same thing. It's the bullshit Jeepers Creepers thing. Every 20 years for 48 hours, the Scarecrow roams the land and kills everybody. Even though the movie takes place over a span that seems to go longer than 48 hours and the Scarecrow's killing the entire time. But I digress. Will, what's the first point you have?
Beyond the typical Jesus, did she literally make the same movie fucking twice? Oh my God, she did. My literally right first 2 points. The brother, basically talking to the Scarecrow, going, "I'm ready for you. I'm ready for you." Essentially,
I know you're coming. I'll be waiting.
Then we cut away to a therapy session. And when right off the bat, when there's a therapy session in an ITN distributed movie, you're almost assured that you're going to get a shitty therapist.
So, being 2 decades on, you finally know the truth about your parents.
Yeah. I mean, I know it wasn't a scarecrow. I don't even know how I thought that even just for a minute.
The first thing that she does is she is telling, and who is our protagonist? all these people are blend
Her name is
together.
June. June is the
June,
protagonist.
that's right. So
And then
June
the
is
therapist is Karen. The therapist is
Karen. Okay, you're right. You're Karen. Okay. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, so Karen, worst therapist in the world, but of course her name's Karen. Go figure. Uh, and so June, so she's telling June, "Oh, I don't believe a scarecrow killed your parents. I believe I believe the scarecrow is a symbol, a mask, or blah 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 blah."
You know, that's quite awful to have to deal with. So putting a mask on the identity of the killer is quite a normal thing that people do in those circumstances.
But what you need to do is you need to go to your childhood home and confront your fear, which honestly, when the moment that she said, "I think you need to go back to your home," I literally have down, "I think anyone in ITN distributed film needs to stay the fuck away from their childhood home."
I think maybe you should go back there. How do you feel about that?
No, I couldn't.
Seriously, I mean, there's a couple weird things, and like, I'm not coming here for like deep Ari Aster level plot or Ari Aster level writing in these movies, but like, it's so weird that in this movie and in Bride of Scarecrow, like, there is like a Library of Congress level amount of information available about Scarecrow murders. Like, they show up to this house and they're literally finding newspaper articles every 20 years going back to the invention of the newspaper, basically, about scarecrows killing people. Not to mention her brother just got killed by a scarecrow. And I'm going to pause right here and talk about that for a second. Like you said, Carl, the brother, is so prepped. He's got a shotgun or a rifle, whatever. He's stalking around. He is in the vicinity of the scarecrow. There's always like an empty cross and the scarecrow is not there. Then they go back to when the scarecrow is there. Well, there's your fucking scarecrow. Come on. This dude sees the scarecrow, then turns his back to the scarecrow and backs up into the scarecrow. Like, what kind of, that is the reverse of preparation. That is not prepared.
Honestly, John, that is that's like the least of my concern, because at that point, I was still trying to figure out how he was able to, holding the rifle, literally vertically jump over the fence and still plant his feet.
Come on!
This was the weirdest jump I have ever seen. Like, he like literally jumps over, jumps up and then somehow manages to go over the fence.
He's a $6 million man.
This was like fucking Mario style. This was like the weirdest goddamn jump I've ever seen in my life. But you're right. You don't turn your back on the enemy. He deserves to die. This falls back on almost every other ITN movie where you start rooting for them to die. This happens very early on, I must say, and for very good reason. So
it sets up the whole movie, right? Because like you said, we're in a splice with the therapy session, but again, the scarecrow's only killing for 48 hours, right? So obviously, Carl getting killed is within the 48 hours. So within those 48 hours, that happens, and the girl, June, and her friend and her therapist decide to go to the land, and it's still going on. So we're supposed to believe this happens over the span of 48 hours.
Which, point number one for Karen for Karen not understanding the role of a therapist. First, she goes to June's house after she finds out that her brother's died. Like, after she found out that June's brother died.
June, I've just heard. I am so sorry. Oh, bless you. You'll get through this, all right? We're going to get through this together, all right?
Thank you.
Like, what therapist makes that quick of house calls?
This is
Okay.
nationalized healthcare. This is nationalized healthcare. It's
I
different.
guess
we,
so.
We don't understand. We don't understand British healthcare, I guess.
But then she goes to the house to help pack up her brother's shit.
Oh, according to this, we should have gone left way back there.
Jesus Christ, this place is in the middle of nowhere.
Wait, pull over. Ask that lady over there. She might know where we are.
Yeah.
This isn't what a therapist does. This is stepping way over the line.
Blurring the lines, definitely.
And so, I would feel uncomfortable, like having my therapist like rummage through like not just my shit, but my brother's shit as well, pulling out like weird like drawings and family photos and everything like that.
And all those newspaper articles.
Here's the thing about the newspaper articles that tripped me up, and I don't know if we ever got an explanation of this because like I at some point mentally blacked out. All the newspaper headlines from what I saw all stop at 1978, which is allegedly when these when the murders originally happened of their kid, their parents.
They talk about the parents were murdered in 1998, and this movie came out in 2018. So this is we're in 2018 in the movie. The parents
okay, so they died in 1998. Okay.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, they keep cutting to Carl holding the picture where it's like 3 kids in the picture. Well, who's the 3rd kid?
I'd like to know that too.
Like they also never explain that. Anyway.
But you see, this is where you had like an ample opportunity though to at least try and tie this back to Bride of Scarecrow. But that would require thought.
They kind of do it in like they do it in a very lazy, figure it out yourself way. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
there was another
sorta.
Yeah. While they're going to the house, we run into a minor character who they ask for directions. Her name is Chanel. And
Chanel.
Hey, love, are you able to help us?
Yeah, what's up?
She has a boyfriend named John, and they're a weird couple. They basically they know about the Scarecrow because Chanel's father is like a big Scarecrow fanatic, so they know about it. But apparently, the fact that she might get killed by the Scarecrow turns her on, and they break onto the property. I guess they trespass.
First of all, I have to correct you though. It's not her father. I think who was the enthusiast. It was her uncle.
Her uncle. Yeah, he's looking for his niece. You're right. But I want to just point out that when they are in the barn or the garage / barn, that seduction scene and the acting in that scene was the most like I mean we're talking about ITN movies. Even for ITN movies, it was very cringy. Like,
oh God.
Don't you think it would be hot if we make love in here?
God, what are you doing? The fact that and the guy who plays John, Daryl Griggs, all the kudos in the world to this guy for delivering that dialogue without like just flat out laughing and acting, I guess, like he was getting turned on by what this woman was doing.
Don't you think that if the Scarecrow guy was here, that he'd show me a good time?
Oh, well, he can have you, and I'll go safely. Now, seriously.
But I'm horny.
It's horrible. I can't stress how horrible this scene.
I mean, to be fair, like I give him all the props in the world for his acting because I was almost like half convinced that he was actually attracted to this woman. Like let's set the stage. I'm sure you're gonna like. I'm sure you're gonna put clips here at some point.
Yeah, there'll be clips in here.
But like, this woman is like pale. Like it's not like ITN Productions knows how to like usually get people of color, anyways.
Yeah.
But pale, like the back, like the background of StreamYard.
She looks sickly. She's not ugly. She does look sickly. She looks sickly.
And like she gives a smile after she gives directions like that's the last time I'm gonna see them alive. Like and there's a point like obviously she gets obviously she and the boyfriend get killed.
Yeah. I'll get to that in a second too, but keep going.
Yeah, but after she witnesses her boyfriend get killed, there's a scene where she is crying, and it brought a whole new level of ugly crying. I believe in my notes I put it as Michael Jackson crying. Because she literally looks like Michael Jackson before he died, crying. It's horrible.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about her death scene really quick, because like she basically, well, two things. One, she basically escapes. Like she jumps the fence, right? And given the lore of the Scarecrow, she should be safe. She's not in the land anymore. She jumps the fence to the side. But while the Scarecrow is chasing her, she just like sits against the fence. Like, keep running. Get in the fucking car. Like, go. Like, go. She doesn't go.
Like, this is not a fast running Scarecrow. You can you could Usain Bolt that shit just down the road, get to the next farm over, you're fine. But she doesn't, because plot.
Yeah. So then, we're left with just the three girls. And then, of course, the uncle lives down the road. He's looking for his niece, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then the movie just kind of becomes a lot of like weird exposition dump, and they find out, and interrupt me whenever you want, but like the lazy way these movies get tied together is we find out that the Legend of the Scarecrow, which is identical, it's identical. A guy was stealing, they put him in a field, he starved to death and was pecked to death by crows. We find out that this happened multiple times in multiple locations throughout England.
The souls of the victims are trapped. They are cursed to suffer the same fate as the Scarecrow.
Like the same exact story with the same exact legend. So there's multiple Scarecrows. And again, we're in the whole ITN question. Where is the prevention and like investigation on this? How is all this information out there and nothing being done about it?
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is also when they state that the victims of the Scarecrow themselves become Scarecrow.
I believe that's kind of glossed over, but yeah, that's in there too.
So essentially, not only does it start out like with like 15 incidents, but every 20 years it increases.
Yeah.
To the point where there's got to be like hundreds of these fuckers by now.
Yeah, this is an epidemic right now. It's like they should just be like cordoning off pieces of land, and like there should be curfew. MI6 should be in this bullshit. Like, let's go, everybody. Like, this is a real problem that we're ignoring, and we don't even have our friend the vlogger this time around to set us straight. So
I don't know if that's how you know it's a good movie or a bad movie, quite frankly. And
he's in all kinds. He's in good ones and bad ones.
That's fair. That's fair.
Again, but Karen is still skeptical, to the point that she goes out to the field, and you saw it in the trailer. They have this big reveal, like, let's take the mask off the Scarecrow, and they've put Chanel's body up on the cross.
Let's see what is behind the mask once and for all on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
And then the Scarecrow attacks, and it's they do the whole thing from the other from the Amityville Scarecrow, where they kill Nancy, Louisa Warren's character, by stuffing her by basically feeding her straw until she dies, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it just wraps up. It like people, and then at the end of the movie, the sun rises. It's supposed to be the end of the 48 hours because we passed the days, and the Scarecrow just shows up again and kills.
But you see, that's a different Scarecrow, though.
But it's the same land. It's so stupid.
But here's the thing, though, John.
And of course, the movie ends right there because it's a Louisa Warren movie. Now she's hit her stride now. That's exactly where the movie ends.
Yeah.
Directed by Louisa Warren. What did I miss?
So there's there's a few really stupid points I wrote down because I had to. First of all, I found it absolutely hilarious that Chanel was supposed to be American.
Fine, don't believe me. But it is real. And his spirit does remain here.
And then, a lot of other points that I need to point out about Karen being a horrible therapist. First of all, she tries to get her patient drunk.
Yep.
I've got a sneaky bottle of wine in my case. Do you want to come and join me for a drink? Sure.
After trying to hypnotize her.
Yep.
Which she doesn't even do a good job of hypnotizing her. She shakes her awake, which is something you don't do when you're hypnotizing him.
She re-traumatizes her and then hypnotizes her wrong. Yes.
Him. All right, June, snap out of it now.
It's a scarecrow! It's a scarecrow! It's a scarecrow! Wake up, Mom! She's not waking up! It's a scarecrow! It's a scarecrow!
June, snap out of it now, June. Back here. June!
Nancy says one of the dumbest things in the movie. Because at one point she picks up a knife and goes, stab him in the hay.
I don't know, stab him in the hay.
It's all hay. It's all hay.
And at this point, I literally have in my note, stab him in the hay, ? Scarecrow just needs to kill these morons right away.
And he does. I can't wait for there is a third installment. We'll get to that soon. But first, a drink.
So because we already did one Scarecrow movie, I couldn't find another cocktail with the name of Scarecrow. So I started getting creative, and so I actually found one that I thought was actually pretty apropos because at one point you see a murder of crows. So I thought I have a drink called Murder of Crows.
It's the same CGI crows over and over again, but yes, you do see a murder of crows.
That's very true. So you have 1.5 ounces of rum. They say Diplomatico rum. Just put whatever fuck you want.
Put any kind of rum you want, but Diplomatico rum, sure. That's a plug for them.
Yeah, a 3/4 of an ounce of 5-spice pineapple cordial. I don't know if this is something you're supposed to make by yourself, but that sounds delicious. Then another 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice, 1/2 ounce of Campo Viejo Tempranillo. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Google it.
Go to that website. You'll figure it out.
3 drops of walnut oil available at specialty stores. Orange slice for garnish, and if you have decorative black feathers, just put them on there. For the most part, this sounds like a very tasty drink, and drink you shall while watching this movie.
I would just say, and I'll turn it over to you in a second. I would just take a little sip anytime you can clearly read the words "no regrets" on Louisa Warren's shirt, because she clearly, absolutely, I'll stress again, has no regrets. Go ahead, Will.
Take one sip for every second. June has the refrigerator open. Jesus Christ! Close the fucking fridge. Let's see. Every single time someone mentions, every single time you see an article from, the same article from 1978.
Yeah,
you'll drink. This shows up at least 5 times.
Yeah, you'll die from that.
Any single time a new Scarecrow picture shows up, take a drink.
Yeah.
And finally, take 3 drinks when someone actually has the brilliant idea of lighting the fucker on fire. Take a drink.
Yeah. That being said, that'll wrap up Curse of the Scarecrow. There is one more Scarecrow movie that she has directed. I believe it is The Scarecrow's Revenge. We'll be covering that next week on episode 20. So can't wait to see how it all ties together. If you made this far in the video, like, comment, subscribe, and share. The Facebook group is Why We Love Horror. The TikTok is WWL Horror. We appreciate seeing you on all those platforms. Remember, Monday versus you're watching it. Wednesdays is special editions. This week, I think Aaron might join me. We're going to talk about The Crow, at least briefly. Thursday, Why We Love Horror. We're covering Strange Darling. And then Friday, Why We Love Horror Trivia. Join us for 2 more teams matches. Then, until next time, I am John Maher, and that's Will Cohen. This has been Versus. Thanks for stopping by.